policy reviews. So you're in an appointment. A client says, well, I've got coverage with such and such. Or they don't tell you, but as you're filling out a green sheet, you ask them a question, well, what else do you have to lean on? Or does your family have to lean on when you die? Well, I think I've got this or that or the other thing. When you identify a policy that's in the home, our best strategy for anybody is to make sure that you are taking the time to uncover that policy, look at it a little more carefully, and be very clear about what they have, because what they have may be different than what they think they have. And they just don't know. And we have got to take the time to educate them, to inspect what they've got. And some people, they have a great policy. They think they do, and they do. But until we take the time to investigate it, we really shouldn't be making too much of a suggestion on a program until we're clear on what they have. First thing, is it coverage that they own? Be prepared to take some notes here, but is it coverage that they own? If it is, well, then they should have the policy. If they don't have the policy, well, then we need to find the details on it. So they should know the name of who's on the policy, like which carrier is it, so we can then call the carrier with them. If they're like, I don't remember the carrier name, well, are you paying for it? Well, yeah. Well, then it should be coming out of your bank account. Do you have your bank statement? No. Can you look at your bank statement on your phone? Oh, yeah, I can do that. Or if it's during business hours, can you call your bank and have them look it up and tell you? So I think that's the first thing is help them pull the policy out. If they don't have the policy, then figure out who it's with by memory, bank statements or letters, or calling the bank or going on their online bank or whatever it is and figure it out. Once you have the carrier name, now, if it's during business hours, we can do a three-way call, and we can call the carrier with the client, and we can help ask the questions. So now, whether you have the paper copy of the policy in front of you, or whether you have the carrier on the phone and it's you and the client talking, here are the big things that you want to be looking at and thinking. So, number one is, what are we looking for? What type of a policy is it? What type? Is it term or is it permanent? Okay, that's big. Is it term or permanent? If it's term, how long is the term? It has a defined term. It's either a 1-year renewable term, a 5-year term, a 10-year term, a 15, a 25, or a 30. And after that initial term period, the premium goes up significantly. And so what you need to do is find out what is the actual term length of the contracted premium. And then what does that premium go up to? When does it go up? How much does it go up? And when does it go up again? It's so critical because you might have an annual renewable term and say, oh, yeah, it's going to go from $30 to $32 here this year. It's no big deal. What you got to do is look out about 10 or 15 years and look at what's the projection, what is the schedule of term costs after the continuous compounding of 10 to 15 or 8 to 10% price increases. If it's a 10% price increase, the price will have doubled in 7 years. How often we're talking about the term length? When does the price go up next? Okay. And when does it go up again? And to be able, and sometimes if you don't have the policy, when you talk to them on the phone at the insurance company, they're only going to tell the client the next price increase. That's where you as the agent have to get the carrier to show how bad it is. They're just going to answer the question asked. Well, you can't react to this. You look at your client and say, okay, did you catch that? Did you write that down, Jara? So I am making sure that the client is hearing this negative information from the carrier. I'm not telling them they've got a bad policy. The carrier will do it for me, but I've got to ask the questions and make sure the client is hearing this. The death benefit amount is important. If it's a permanent policy, is it a whole life or universal life? If it's a universal life, you need to identify there's one operative phrase that's very important, and it should be the projected lapse date at the current premiums. If the client or the insured continues to pay the current premiums, what is the projected lapse date? And if they've had the policy for 20 plus years, you will be shocked at how many universal life policies are running around there that are underfunded and about to crash. You need to be aware of this and be on the lookout, because if it is, you've got to help your clients do something with some level of urgency instead of allowing this crash to occur. Other questions you can ask: what is the current interest rate? How much cash value is in the policy? Those are all for universal life policies. For a whole life policy, if it's a whole life, good. Is there an outstanding loan against it? What is the current balance? What is the interest rate? That's important to know. If they have the written policy, verifying the beneficiaries. They typically may not tell you the beneficiaries on the phone. Any riders to look at are important. All right, these are basics. I'm going through this quickly, but the first part is getting the policy out, or getting the person that knows, can answer questions detail-wise about the policy, which would be the carrier. Then slowing down to ask all these questions and gathering this information. So my big tips are: get the client to want to get their policies out. Once you get them out, make sure that you're asking the questions and letting them answer by reading, hey, what does this say? As opposed to reading it to them and say, oh, this says you have a crappy policy. So, well, what does that say? Well, what do you think it means? Well, okay. Well, let me tell you what it means. Exactly what it says. So like sometimes this contract language is very simple, but they want to believe it means more than what it says. It's our job just to help be clear.